Mixed Review of Problems, page 23, number 5, by Cindy Johnson, Trisha Ziegler, and Dylan Slavinsky. Number 5. Point E is the midpoint of segment AB and the midpoint of segment CD. The endpoint of segment AB are A, x equals -4, y equals 5, and B, x equals 6, y equals -5. The coordinates of point C are x equals 2 and y equals 8. Find the coordinates of point D. Explain how you got your answer.
So, we know that point A is at the coordinates -4, 5, and that point B is at the coordinates 6, -5. Also, point C is at the coordinates 2, 8. This means that we need to find the coordinates of point D in the midpoint, or point E. Step 1. Find the midpoint of the line segment AB. Using the midpoint formula, m equals the quantity of x1 plus x2 divided by 2, and the quantity of y1 plus y2 divided by 2, plug in the first x, -4, and the second x, 6, into the first half. Then plug in the first y, 5, and the second y, -5, into the second half. Solve each side to find x and y. So, -4 plus 6 divided by 2 equals 1, and 5 plus -5 divided by 2 equals 0. You now have found the midpoint 1, 0. Step 2. Plug the coordinates of the midpoint, point E, and the coordinates of point C into the midpoint formula. First, write down the midpoint formula as of point E. Plug in the coordinates of point E and each x and y value stated before into the midpoint formula. Now, make finding the coordinates of point E better and easier. Your next step is to rid yourself of the fraction, or of the 2 you're dividing by. To do this, multiply each side by another 2 to cancel out the unwanted fraction. After multiplying each side by 2, you will end up with 2 equals 2 plus x, and 0 equals 8 plus y. Solve for x and solve for y. After solving for x and y, you will now have the coordinates for point D, which is 0, -8.
And here's a visual representation to show what we discussed. As you can see, there's line segment AB. Midpoint E was the midpoint of AB as well as CD. So you had to find D to complete the line segment.